Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to repot this cutting here. As you can see, it's pretty long. Let's see if I can get it all in the camera here, but this is probably 2 feet long or more, probably 2.5 feet long. But I planted it. I took a cutting off one of my trees and I planted it last year during the summer, late summer, I think, and it was about this big, maybe a little bit longer. And then I put some wire on it just to add some movement to it and just let it grow over the winter and into this spring. And this is what I'm left with. And I'm just noticing some of that. It really started growing a lot in the last month, especially since it's been outside. We're middle of April here in Texas, so my trees have been outside for I think about 3 weeks or more now. And I see this is really thickened up and some of the wires biting into the trunk. So as I repot, I'll go ahead and cut that wire off. But like I said, I just put that on there real loose when it was a cutting, just to add some movement to it. And just like I said, let it grow. So let's go ahead and get into this and get it repotted. Okay, so first let's get this one out of the way. Like I said, I was just had this one here to show kind of how this one started. Hopefully it'll come out of this pot fairly easy. It's been outside on my bench and we just had a ton of rain over the last day or so. I'm going to try not to do a whole lot of root work on this, because ideally you wouldn't want to do a lot of root work on a wet porch lick area. So let's see. But if I do some root work and do some cuts, I will definitely keep it dry and let it fully dry out before I water it again. Just to prevent any root rot potential. I'm just trying to uncover some of this to see if I've got any root flare to work with. Go ahead and work on some of this wire. Try to unwind it first. And if that doesn't work, I'll just cut it off. It's a little awkward trying to hold the tree up while I'm doing it, because it's going to fall over if I let go, since it's not in a pot or stable right now. Let's see. Probably should let this dry out a little bit before I started working on it, but I didn't realize it was this wet until now. I think I'm just about to the end here. There we go. So there we can kind of see the tree shape anyway. Got a nice curve to the trunk. And not much root flare to work with yet. So I think first I am going to go ahead and cut some of the length off the top, because I don't really want this to be a super tall tree, I don't think, but it's going to be very unstable in the pot if I try to leave some of this height on it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it here first. And look at that. We have a potential new tree already. I might go ahead and pot that up and see if we can get that propagated and growing. Okay. Just trying to look at this tree to see how I want to position it. Thinking maybe something like this. I'll probably cut this branch off here, start my branching up around this area. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these off. I could leave these down here to thicken up the trunk, but it'll thicken up enough. I'm just gonna go ahead and get these out of the way. I don't think I want that one there. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and cut that off. All right, I think it's about time to go ahead and get a pot up here. And start working on positioning, kind of see how I want this to look here. I'm still thinking something like that, because then I can have this branch over here, or this one even as a side branch, and then work on some branching over here. So yeah, I think I might go ahead and tie it in the pot that way. Yeah. So lay it over here and get some soil. Actually, go ahead and get my wire ran first to tie it in. And I'll just kind of loosely measure and see how much wire I need to go through the bottom of the pot and give me enough room up top to tie it in. So we'll do that. And these plastic training pots that I use have holes in the bottom of them already for drainage, and you can put wire through there, which is kind of handy. So there's the wire in. Go ahead and get some soil started. And I have questions about what soil I use. So I just mixed up a couple 5-gallon bucket full of soil. So I took some footage and things like that. So I think I'll go ahead and show you that, kind of what my soil mix is. So I'll go ahead and drop that in here. So my soil mix has 3 components. The first one is expanded shale, and I use about 50 to 60% of this. The next is Turfus All Sport, and this is about 30% or so. And then the last is an organic component, and I use about 10 to 15% of this. So first I just take the shale and sift out the fine particles, and then just dump it into my bucket where I keep my mix in. And then next I do the same thing with the turfus. Again, I just use a cheap little sifter and sift out the fines and pour it in the bucket again. And then next I'll use the organic component, and first here I sift out the fines, and then once I get the fines sifted, I pour it into a different size sifter, which filters it down to like a 1/4 inch, and then I'll filter that right into the, sift it right into the bucket, and that leaves the larger particles out. So what I end up with in the bucket is just the small 1/4 inch size particles. And then I just mix it up, and once I get all that mixed up, I end up with a decent little soil mix that I use for all of my trees. I use them for my portulacarias, ficus, Chinese elm, desert rose, just pretty much everything that I use. And that's pretty much my soil mix. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the soil video. Pretty simple, so, and a little cheaper. So let's see. I'm thinking that right there is going to work. Go ahead and get this tied in. Still a little top heavy here. I think I might go ahead and run another piece of wire on the other side. That's probably long enough. Make sure we get this tied in good. Because it's still pretty wobbly, especially with that height up on top. And I might end up cutting some of that top off anyway, but we'll see how tight we can get this. See if I can get it stable enough with that extra height on it. Yeah, I think that might work. Cut this extra wire off. Okay. Go ahead and fill it up. Okay. I think I might need to try to. Just trying to pack a little more soil in this side. I'm trying to lift that side up a little bit just to reposition the tree, but not too overly concerned with that the position's not perfect, but because it's still a very young tree, you know, just from a cutting, but I want to kind of get it going on a good path anyway. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit more of this top off. And it's going to look pretty bare, I think. But this is kind of the way I grow a lot of my trees, is they start from cuttings, and then, you know, it has all these branches all over it, and then you just kind of go through and just pick, okay, I want this one, I don't want that one. Just kind of follow the bonsai design principles, you know, left branch, right branch. Try not to have any branches on the inside of a curve, all that good stuff. And this one here is on the inside of a curve, so I think even though it's a long one, I'm going to go ahead and take that off just because it's in the wrong place. And let it continue on. Still don't like the top here. Go ahead and take it down a little bit more. Yeah, that's a nice thick tree already. Yeah, I need to either, I've got this branch here that's really positioned well to be a side branch, but it's just really young and all the energy's gone into this one, but it's kind of coming out to the front and don't really want it on the front. This is kind of on the inside too, so I think I'm going to get rid of that. I've got a lot of branches up here that I can work with. Like I said, this is going to be pretty pretty bare, but this is kind of what it takes in the very early stages. Just trying to think, if I look at repositioning it, something like that, is this a decent side branch? But I just like the trunk movement from this side, and the trunk is the most important part to get that right. So I think this front one's going to have to go. It's no big deal. Like I said, these will continue to grow out. Not sure if I'll keep this one, but this one definitely is a nice side branch. I've got a few back branch options here. Got some more branches up here that, like this one, will continue to grow out and be another side branch over there. So a lot of possibilities. So I think the top, I think I'm just going to keep all those branches on there just to let that develop. But I think as far as up to here, I've got a nice side branch here. This is a good back branch. And then just kind of let those develop, and then I'll go ahead and take this one back because I don't need that long of a branch up top. But I will continue to refine this over the summer as these branches get a little taller. And as you can see here, it's kind of leaning backwards a little bit. So once it gets established, I may put some wire on it and kind of bend it back forward, just so it's leaning forward a little bit, but that can come later. We'll just let this get settled in the new pot, and once I start seeing it put on new growth, you know, that I know it's healthy, then I might go ahead and try to wire that down. But stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed, and then I'll make sure to update you guys on this tree as we move forward. But let me give you a quick spin around. So there's the front, there's the left side, there's the back, right side, and back to the front. But the reason I'm pausing, as I spun it around, you know, this could be the front. Kind of wish I wouldn't have cut that branch off before I spun it around, but it will continue to grow. So this could end up being the back branch, and this may be the front of the tree going forward. So yeah, like I said, we're still really early in the development, so it can go any number of ways. But yeah, I kind of like this as the front now. So all right, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.